Hello, everyone. Welcome on to Branded. This is the podcast that takes you behind the scenes and beyond the brand to give you the clarity and confidence to challenge the status quo and show the fuck up in your own life. This woman right here is about to help you do it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have Brynn on this episode. Welcome, Miss Brynn. Brynn Lang in the house. Whoop, whoop.
Is everybody like, damn, that was a sexy beginning right there? I was like, look at that sexy chick.
We're just over here dancing to that intro. Oh, so good. Brynn, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
All right, you guys, Brynn is a freaking powerhouse. She's a networking and business building genius. I've seen this firsthand, and she's no joke. Like, she will tell you how it fucking is and will just shake you with love and get you the results that you're looking for. That's basically everything I've witnessed, and I love every bit of it. She's gone from motherhood to millionaire status. Like, if you're looking to look to someone who has done the network marketing thing and done it in a way that has created sustainable success, like, that's exactly what Brynn has done. And it's been really, really phenomenal to be able to witness. And she's been featured in magazines. She's like known for her real talk. She has fantastic like coaching around time management. Like, that's totally her jam. And she's really just on a mission to build a whole bunch of badasses.
Hell yes.
So, welcome. And I want to kick us off with starting the conversation around what life looked like for you before you became a millionaire in network marketing. I mean, obviously it didn't happen overnight. What were some things that happened?
I took the elevator right to the top, that elevator that everybody talks about. I had this little magic pill that I swallowed and poof, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
I'm gonna turn my fan on. Sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Yeah, we live in the South, y'all. Like, it's not.
I want to get naked over here. It's hot. I turn the heater down. It's in the other bedroom.
Yeah, no heaters. Okay, so what were you doing before you even started network marketing?
Yeah, so I have to go back a little bit further than that to explain like the isn't it ironic of my story. By the way, still one of the most epic songs ever. So the funny thing is I actually said I would never be an entrepreneur. My parents, I grew up, they were restaurateurs. So we owned restaurants. We had a series of restaurants that did really, really well. And so I was kind of that spoiled kid that I didn't realize I was spoiled, where we kind of had everything. We had the beautiful home and we lived on 2.5 acres, and I was a volleyball player. So we had a full volleyball court and we had this big pool, and my brothers played baseball. So we had a batting cage and we had like a whole indoor, what the freak is the first part of the field? I don't know. We had all the things. We had the wakeboarding boat and the motorhomes and the Harley Davidson.
Oh shit, yeah.
And yeah. We had all
not a lot of kids had those things.
Yeah, no, but I didn't realize that because it's kind of like the world I grew up in until my parents opened another restaurant when I was in high school that did not do well. And we ended up having to file for bankruptcy when I was a junior in high school. And we all know how teenagers are, right? Those are really formative years where you really give a shit about what other people think. And so I was so embarrassed because we moved from this amazing house into this terrible house with cottage cheese ceiling and brown shag carpet. And I would not let any of my friends come over. Like, I was so embarrassed. And I remember telling my parents, I will never, ever, 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 ever be an entrepreneur. I want to go to college. I want to have a career. I want something stable. So nothing like this will ever happen to me again or ever happen to my children. And so I went to college. I got a full ride scholarship to play volleyball at University of Southern Mississippi, to the top. And which is what brought me from California to Mississippi. And I graduated and decided to move to the Jackson area because I was then engaged, and my fiance at the time was basically like he was trying to get away from his friends so he could actually make something of his life. Even though I didn't want to move, I moved. I got a job in sales, which is so funny. I did food sales. I hated sales. I hated cold calling. I was terrible at it. I was terrible. But then I actually met my now husband because his restaurant.
Isn't that funny how life works?
Yeah, isn't it ironic? His restaurant ended up becoming one of my accounts. So I broke up with my then fiance, ended up marrying my husband, who is like a serial entrepreneur. And he was always trying to convince me to open my own business. Well, first off, I hated sales. I'm like, no. So then I got really fat when I had my kid and decided I wanted to lose the weight sustainably. And so I had my health routine and my supplements and my eating and all the things. And I lost 75 pounds. And so I decided to become a personal trainer because I'm like, I want to help so many people with this. This is amazing. Everybody's fat after they have kids. Like we all feel like shit. Like I know how to help them. And so I did that. And my husband's always in my ear. He's like, well, you should open your own gym. Like, I'm like, no, dude, I know what it takes to keep the lights on. I know what it takes to have to pay the employees. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how like God works. And when the right person on the right day at the exact right time says exactly what you need to hear. And it was the stupidest thing. Every time I repeat it, I'm like, but it's so relatable.
Yeah.
My friend that came to my boot camp told me, he's like, dude, I just bought socks without checking my bank account. And I was like, oh, I gotta do everything to check my bank account. At that point, we were broke, like people who think that you own your own business, you're automatically going to be this rich. Like no. Like we were in the stages of brokenness and I couldn't work any more hours. Like I was already working from like 5 a.m. till like 8 p.m, dragging my kid in and out of the gym.
Yeah.
And so I jumped into network marketing and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. But I was like, if I could buy anything without checking my bank account, like that would be legit. I was standing in Target the week before, staring at a pair of shoes for my kid, asking myself if I could make them stretch one more week because I could not afford the shoes. And so that's actually what brought me into the world of network marketing, which got me right into entrepreneurism. The one thing I said I would.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think actually it's so fascinating how that is so many people's story. Like you just sort of accidentally end up somewhere with the right kind of people. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're building a business and you're like, holy shit, like this was not on my radar. I mean, that's kind of what happened to me too. My parents were both, my mom had her own catering company. My dad had his own like construction business. They were entrepreneurs living paycheck to paycheck. We were broke as fuck most of the time. And so I was like, I will never do that. I'll just work for somebody else. I'll work my way up that ladder and make some good salary and that'll be it. But then I got fat. I didn't have a kid.
Not either one of us is anymore. We're looking good.
But it was one of those things where it's like, it's those moments where you just feel like you kind of hit rock bottom and you're like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So whether it's you've had a kid, you've had a divorce, you've gotten fat, you lost your job, like it doesn't really matter what the bottom of the barrel looks like for you. It all kind of looks the same for all of us. We're like, it sucks. But that's how I found network marketing too. It was just like, I needed the right kind of solution and it presented itself. And I'm so glad that it did. And I think it's the coolest. I think it's one of the coolest industries out there that for next to no money, you can learn how to become the person that like you've always kind of desired to be. It's so fucking wild.
Amen. Seriously, it's funny because when I have this conversation with people, because I know very well what it's like to be both a brick and mortar business owner and also an online business owner. And it's so funny because I had this perception of network marketing, just like most people have this perception of network marketing, that it's this scam, right? Where nobody makes any money and it's all lies and all these things. Well, if you really look at it, the reason that the majority of the people don't make money in network marketing is because, number one, they are raised with an employee mindset where they expect to show up and get paid like basically immediately for the work that you're putting in. Like you show up, you work these hours, you get paid this, right? But that's not how entrepreneurism works. And it's definitely not how network marketing works. A lot of times you put in a lot of effort up front, learning the skills, taking the actions, doing the things before you ever really see a whole lot of money on the other side. And the other thing is like, it's such a low barrier of entry that, and there's no interview, there's no nothing, like anybody can join. And so it's like for $99, you can own your own business, right? Like when we're about to open another restaurant and we are going to have to take out like $600,000 in loans.
Yeah.
Like you can't just quit. You got to pay that back whether you shut the doors or not. But with network marketing, like $99 and then, I got by 5 people and oh my God. And then they quit and then they go and tell everybody it doesn't work. Well, it works if you work it. And if you're consistent and you learn the skills, right? Like I, anybody else, started at suck. I sucked terribly. I didn't know what I was doing. My upline had no idea what they were doing. Their upline had no idea what they were doing. I was just like flying by the seat of my pants. I'm like, I'm just going to message everybody I know and send them 2-paragraph long messages and chase people down in the grocery store. And, I did all the wrong things. I had no idea what I was doing. But over time, I learned the skills. I continued to show up consistently. And because of that, and because I didn't quit, now I'm where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the things that attracted me to you so much was that you have this level of like authenticity and truth that you're not afraid to say the real thing and to say like, yeah, a lot of people think network marketing is a fucking scam. And you know what? A lot of people run their businesses like it's a fucking scam. But guess what? You don't have to if you don't want to. And you're really, really getting loud about how important it is to be really honest with the people you're bringing in and letting them know like you're maybe not going to see a dime from this in 30, 60, 90 days. It depends on your effort, but you might not see a dime from this. So like, it's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to be a little Band-Aid, but if you really work it, this could legit change your life.
Yes. Yes.
And I love that you do that from that position and that point of view, because it brings people to you that aren't afraid to do the work. And that's a big thing, I think, with your coaching clients that you probably have conversations with them around is like, who are you being? Who are you attracting? Because that is in turn how well your business is operating and, thriving. Yeah. So what is something that, like, let's say you're looking back at it now and you're like, I'm so glad it happened. That was a great opportunity. But at the time you were like, that felt like one of the biggest failures you've had. Is there something like that for you, whether it be with network marketing or previous?
Yeah, actually, it's probably the biggest part of my story. And it's what I believe that this pivotal moment was what actually helped me become a 7-figure earner. And now multiple 7-figure earners in 2 different businesses, because it spurred my coaching business as well. And so for me, that moment was one of the toughest things I've ever been through, but probably the thing I'm most thankful for. So like I said, I started at suck. We all started at suck, but I did catch the vision very quickly of what I wanted for me and my family. I knew that if I put the work in, I learned the skills and I showed up consistently and I worked harder than anybody else, then I could change my family's life. Like I really, truly believed that. And so I did. I put my head down and I worked my ass off. And so I built to a 6-figure income in a year, and came home, stopped doing personal training, and then just like went full on, full time, like head down, working my ass off every hour of the day to create something really big and beautiful for my family. Well, in the process, I forgot about my family.
Yeah.
And so 4 years in, I was so burnt out. My relationship with my husband was more of a roommate situation than, an actual relationship. And, I was on the phone all day or on Zooms or in people's homes or traveling on the weekends. And my kid, he was 7.5 at the time, told me that he didn't think I loved him anymore. Like he said, you never, ever pay attention to me. You're always working. And it was like, whoa, what am I doing with my life? Like if you're a parent or even if you're not a parent yet, like there will come a time in your life, I guarantee you, where there's going to be a moment where you're going to be hit in the face with something like that, and really have to ask yourself, what are my priorities? Like, what do I really want out of my life? And so I actually almost quit network marketing. Like I called my husband and I said, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to start looking for jobs. I'm just going to go back into sales. And I remember him just saying, honey, you're really good at this. You just might need to figure out how to do it differently, but I don't think you should quit. And so that's actually back in 2018. I found a different vehicle within network marketing. And I was really looking for something that had systems already in place. Because at that point in my life, I was the system. I was the presentation. I was the tool, right? Like, I was the everything. And so I made a transition, but not only that, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to learn how to build a profitable business, way more profitable than I had made it so far, but to do it without sacrificing my family time and without sacrificing the things that matter most to me. And so over the next couple of years, I really, really got like obsessed with learning delegation, outsourcing, automation, and applying it to my own business, and built to 7 figures in that 2 years without having to sacrifice those things. And then decided to open my own coaching business where I taught other female entrepreneurs the same thing. And so now I have 2 7-figure businesses that I work in just a few hours a day, because I have learned that the key really is understanding, number one, what is most important to me in my life, right? Number 2, what are the things that I absolutely hate doing in my life and business, the things that drain my energy in my life and business? And number 3, how can I show up every day and only do the things that need to be done specifically by me, my heart, my experience, my voice? And how can I take everything else that has to be done and pass it along to other people or other tools?
Yeah, and that's a scary thing for a lot of business owners. Like, and I'm speaking from my own personal
control freaks. Yeah.
All you control freaks out there, raise your hand. Yeah, and we all experience that, especially, it's like it's your own little baby. You've created this whole beautiful business, this gorgeous little entity, and you want to make sure it's taken care of and you want to see every aspect of it. But I mean, that's a prime example of how you can kill the thing you've worked the hardest for by suffocating it, essentially, by not allowing it to grow and breathe and allow more people to have their expertise and their input and all the things. Like,
you have to think about like how burnt out you get. And then how are you actually showing up in your business when you have feelings like that? I show up in my business every day and I am just like, hey, I'm happy to be here, right? Because like my marriage is great and I have so much time with my kid, even though he's a teenager. Like it's boiled
now
down.
It's his fault you're not spending time together.
Tyler, the creator, and watching Rick and Morty, right? Like this is what I get. Like my health is great because I actually take time to work on my health. I sit in my sauna every day. I work out every day, right? Like, because I've created all of this time where I can still have the other things that are important to me, that are priorities to me. And what happens is my energy is fantastic all of the time because I'm not just zoned in on one area that's burning me the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. And having awareness around those things, like, of course, if you're just getting started out, it's difficult to delegate anything to anyone because, for one, you're not really sure what you even should be delegating. Because I do think it's vital to do the work first, understand what does this take.
But when I talk about how I teach people, it's sometimes it's the smallest things that help the most. It's not the, go hire a VA that's going to do your prospecting for you. Like, yeah, you need to learn how to do that yourself first. I agree. But small things like, okay, women that are listening, how many of you are willing to ask your spouse for help with your children or around the house? I can't tell you how many women I coach that feel guilty for even
Right?
asking that. They call it babies. I have to ask my spouse to babysit my he is your baby daddy. He
Yeah.
is their daddy. He is not their babysitter, right? Like, but it's really it's those small little things that
Yeah.
even in the beginning, like asking your spouse to help you, asking your mother-in-law maybe to come watch the kids for a couple hours a day so you can
Mhm.
work your business, right? Like
Yeah.
asking your neighbor to carpool with you so you don't always have to take your kids to school. Like little things like that that people don't think about that can
Yeah.
create them so much more time that they can literally do right from the beginning of their business. Now, things like
Mhm.
outsourcing and automation and all those kinds of things, those are things I agree. They're learned
Yeah.
over time, but those little things, I wish more people knew about these small little things that could create so much more time for them to actually help them create more success in their business faster.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really, I think a lot of women, especially, are afraid to ask for these things because they think that they should, it's like,
Our job.
um, taking a notch out of their armor or something. And it's like, no. And honestly, I went through this and I don't have any kids of my own, but my husband, he's transitioned jobs, like a little over a year ago. And it actually, it meant he was home more than he was before. And it took me a while to start to ask him, hey, can you do the laundry like on a regular basis, the dishes, the dinners, that kind of stuff. And now it's gotten to a point where this is our routine and I don't have to ask him to do the laundry. He's like, I see it's full, so I'm going to just do it. And yeah, but it starts with asking. And I know that I mean, isn't that like a pillar of your programs that whenever
Oh
you're teaching women like the time management and the delegation and
yeah. Well, think about it. Like the generation that our parents were raised in,
yeah,
right? Their parents, their mothers were homemakers. They
yeah,
did everything. Like it was the male went to work and the female stayed home and took care of the kids and did the laundry and did the dishes and cooked the meals, right? So our parents were raised by these parents that lived that life and so they felt all this pressure. Us women have felt all
yeah,
this pressure to learn how to be homemakers, to learn how to be these nurturing humans and to take care of our, even if you don't have kids, to take care of your spouse,
yeah,
make sure he's got a hot dinner to come home to, right? But then if you look at the generation that our parents, they came into, and then like through the 80s and stuff, like women really became empowered to be the career women or whatever. But
mhm,
what happened was they just took on both roles at the same time.
right.
And so, yes, you can have your
Just doing
career and you
both.
can have it and you can do all the things, but you still need to have dinner on the table and you still need to make sure that the laundry's done. And so that was our mothers, our
Hmm.
fathers. And so it's like we're like, oh my, we're like growing up, like, how does my mom do everything? Like, how does I gotta do everything? And so we feel like it's our job. And so
Yeah,
part of the process that I have to walk a lot of females through is letting go of that societal thing that we have to be the nurturers. We have to be the ones that do
hmm,
everything. Like I love that you said that because it it's such a big thing to be able to say, "Hey, let's sit down. Let's look at both our schedules. Let's look at all of the things that we need to get done and the priorities that we have. And maybe let's look at some of the things that I hate doing and you hate doing. And let's like say, okay, this is your job and this is my job. Like I don't do laundry. I have a house cleaner. She does most of that stuff, but like I don't, but I will do the dishes because I can't stand nobody does the dishes as well as I can. So that's just kind of like my thing. And I love to cook, so I do the cooking. But like between my kid and my husband, like they get the laundry done and they make sure that the yard's taken care of and they make sure, like we have my
yeah,
husband pays the bills and he goes and gets gas in our cars because I hate doing those things. But we know what each of us can do to help and support the other because we communicated and we
yeah.
asked.
Yeah. Well, then that's the biggest thing is communication, awareness around the things. And I think what's so interesting and really a cool thing that's happening just nowadays that I see as more and more of a trend, especially with social media, people building businesses online, people expressing, right, how their lives are happening online. We're seeing more and more how so many people are coming into this moment of enlightenment where it's like, it's okay to become aware of the things that you don't like instead of
Yes.
just being like, well, whatever. I guess this is just something I have to live with for the rest of my fucking life. Like, because that's 100% how my mother lived her life. And I think it's probably one of the things that killed her at an early age is she retained all of this stress and took on the responsibility of anybody and everybody around her. And I mean, it literally, it will kill you when you allow that to happen because your body will hold on to all of that trauma and stress and anxiety. And that is just not good for you. It's not good for you. It's where disease likes to live.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And so break it down for me because I want to do a little mini tangible thing. What does your day look like now? Not necessarily just you, but like maybe you have a VA. And so what I want to break down for people is if you're in a network marketing business, and I believe actually you have a free tracker that we're going to put in the show notes. So could you run through a little bit of what like a successful, day in building a network marketing business looks like? And maybe it's not all you doing it, but for some it will be.
Yeah. So the first thing you obviously need to know are what are the income producing activities? Because, and a lot of people have heard that IPAs, if you're brand new to network marketing, you may not have heard that yet, but there's a big difference between busy work in any job you're doing. Let's be 100.
Yeah.
Right. And
like, don't be scrolling your feed. That's not an IPA.
Yeah. And work that's actually going to create you income. Like what a lot of people want to do in network marketing is just post and pray on social media and just hope that people follow their feed. And
They're like, that was such a cute picture of me and nobody liked it.
Yeah. Or like, I just expected, like I would post a post about my product or about my business and people would be like, me.
You're not Amazon. Like people don't.
Yeah. And granted, that is a skill you can get really good at, right? With curiosity and attraction marketing. You're probably not going to be good at it right away. You're probably going to suck at it, just like most people. But understanding what the income producing activities are and the things that you should be doing in your business every single day are really important. So number one, setting aside time to do these things. I would say in the beginning, you should at least be setting aside an hour of focused and intentional work. And what I mean by that is you are sitting down and you are paying attention to nothing else but doing the income producing activities. No multitasking, no like go in a room, shut the fucking door and you sit. You're not doing anything else. You're not trying to do it while you're doing the laundry, all those things. Second, income producing activities. So every day you need to be adding people to your list. I don't give a crap if people think that's old school or not. If you do not have a list in network marketing, you do not have a business. Okay. You have to have a list of people. This is network marketing and it is the business of people. So you need to be networking with people constantly, right? So adding people to the list, having conversations with these people and building relationships, right? Because we're in a relationship business, inviting people to take a look at your opportunity, at your products, presenting the information to people, right? Like whether it's a video or a presentation or inviting them to an event, right? Like these are the things that we need to be doing. We need to be following up with people every single day, right? Because the fortune's in the follow-up and we need to be asking for referrals every single day, right? Somebody tells you no, great. Who do you know, right? Those are the essential things. Hear me, I did not say posting on social media. Do I believe that social media is a wonderful thing and gives us access to anyone, anywhere in the world at any time? Fuck yes. It's amazing. But that's not where you're going to start making money, right? Yep. So these are the things that need to be done every single day. They are on my tracker and I give you lots of little examples that you can use, that you can check off. I even teach you how to use a timer. So that way you can go through each IPA. If you only have an hour a day for 15 minutes. Now you want to make the big bucks. You're going to be spending more than an hour doing these things. Let's be 100, right?
We got to get away from we got to get away from the verbiage of like, you can be a millionaire in 15 minutes a day.
No,
we got to stop that. And
you're doing work more than 15 minutes a day. Okay. But what's special about my tracker that I love is it's not just an income producing activity tracker. You're not just getting the IPAs, but what I specialize in is helping you build your life and your business at the same time, right? Building
Yes.
that profitable business without sacrificing the things that matter to you most. So on that tracker, I also have things for you to check off in your life, like time with your spouse and time with your kids, right? Getting in 15 minutes of moving your body, right? Because how we do one thing, we do everything, right? And so that's what makes the tracker special. But if you were to look at my day as a whole now, it looks a lot different than I would say it did when I started. I do work more than an hour a day. I have business hours. But I will say that when you take a look at what I actually do on a daily basis now, because I've gotten very good at outsourcing the things that I don't personally love doing, or they just take a lot of time and energy away from my expertise. I do my trainings, right? I have conversations with people I want to have conversations with. I invite people I want to invite, right? And I still push people to presentations, right? But at the end of the day, like, I don't do a lot of the things that I would recommend you do, like reach out to everybody that comments on my social media posts and reach out to all my followers and go out and find people for me on social media. I outsource most of these things so that I can show up refreshed and energized and do just the things that I need to do every day. Once again, like you said, though, those are skills that need to be learned. I don't care who you are. Do not start with a virtual assistant. Learn how to do the skills. Then as you get good at them and you start to realize, like, I'm ready to scale, that's when you start going out and learning how to build a team of people around you that can help you. And I will say this, because this is what really helped me when we were talking about the control freak thing. This I remind myself all the time, and I used to have to put on a little sticky note on my computer and like everywhere. If somebody can do it 75% as well as you can, let them. And reminding myself that, because when you can step back and you can look at your life as a whole, would you rather be burnt out and like frustrated all the time because everything's on your shoulders, or would you rather release a little bit of control, maybe have somebody do it not quite as well as you would do it yourself, but have more freedom to also have a life that brings you joy?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I think you're just so fantastic about, is finding that sort of harmony between building the life that you want through your business, but also recognizing, I mean, because like you said, you kind of had no choice. Your kid was like, I don't think you love me anymore. And you're like, well, shit, I got to make some changes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that will start network marketing businesses and kill their business because of that very reason, or won't start at all because they're afraid of that happening. And so I think that's something that I've just recognized in your content, in your trainings. Like, anytime I am in your presence, and also I was at your retreat back in November, like, you have such a fantastic way of honoring your values and sticking to them. And like, whenever, I think you had told us at your retreat that you were like, listing out the things that you value the most. I mean, your business was like either not really on that list, or it was like at the bottom of the list, Yeah, it was
Number 4.
right. Because you have identified those priorities because you were faced with I got to make a choice kind of decision. And rather than quitting, you just pivoted. And I think that's a big thing with just entrepreneurship as a whole, is it takes a little bit to create that perspective, to create that point of view, to know that when you're presented with something really difficult, it doesn't have to stop you. Like, I feel like now you're at a point in your business where it's like, no matter what would be thrown your way, you would immediately be able to turn it into an opportunity or into some sort of little pivot. And I feel like I've gotten to that point in my business too, where it's like, I no longer feel like I have to apologize or get approval from anybody. If something's not working the way I want it to work, that feels good to me, then I change it.
Yeah. Well, that is actually a skill that has to be learned as well.
100%.
Yeah. If you step back and you look at everything we do, like, somebody wouldn't normally list that as a skill, but it absolutely is a skill and a discipline that has to be created, because most of us are people pleasers, which is why we don't know how to ask for help. Yeah, me too. Which is why we don't know, we don't stand up when something doesn't feel right or isn't working for us, right? Like, I people pleased myself to fucking death for years. right? But at the end of the day, once again, if you can step back and you can actually have the bigger picture of what you want your life to look like, and not just like have your head down and like trying to appease everything to create success, you know, you can really do it in a way that feels good to you, that aligns with your values, that will create success in the long run. And granted, stop looking for the fast, stop looking for the easy, because it's not there. It's not there. Anybody that you've seen that has created success has worked for that. You may only come into somebody's life or somebody's business at chapter 10. You don't know what chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 looked like for them to get there, but you're comparing yourself to them and shooting yourself in the foot by doing that, right? Just, I always just remember, just if I could say anything, that we all start at suck. And if you're still at suck, and even if you've been doing this for 10 fucking years and you're still at suck, that's okay. Every day's a new day to put another foot forward and start to learn the proper skills, nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills. I have to do that every time. But right, like
tightrope.
You every day you can choose. Every day is a new day to start going from suck to average to good to great to exceptional.
Well, and I think what's really so unique about your approach to network marketing is that you give people the space to explore, like, how do they want it to look for them? How do they want their business to run for them? Because that's something I've experienced in the past that is just not for me. When someone says, here's the strategy and you have to do it this way. And it's like,
there's no one
but I don't like doing some of these things. And so I think that's really fantastic that in your coaching program or your network marketing team, like, you give people the space to say, hey, this is what I'm doing and it's working for me. And you even give people like insanely amazing scripts to use, like the resources that Brynn has. You guys have to download her tracker and get on her fucking email list and all the things, because it's so good. But I love seeing that point of view where you give people that space to be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what's working. You're welcome to give it a go, but like, it might not work for you, but what you're going to learn is a new approach. Like, you're going to be able to find it out. And it's, to me, that's what makes a really good teacher and makes a really good leader, is allowing people to fuck up, make mistakes, but have somebody to plug into as a continuous resource that will always be there to support.
Yeah. Well, everybody has a different path and everybody wants different things. And I don't think that a lot of leaders in our industry understand that, because most people who make it to the top are very driven, control freak people, right? And they want other people to work it the way they did, to work as hard as they did, but not everybody wants the same thing. You know, at the end of the day, like, here's the deal. I don't care if you come into my team and you say, I want to bang on a drum all day and like do somersaults and walk to the mall and I don't know, whatever. If you think it's going to create you success and that, like, you're adamant that that's what you want to do, like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I will gladly show you what has worked for me if you would like to plug into it, but I'm also not your boss and I'm not going to tell you what to do. Now, if that works for you, I will cheer you on. I will love on you. I'll be so freaking excited. I will recognize you, and great. Like, build your team that way. If it crashes and fucking burns and you're like, damn it, that didn't work, and you come back to me, you're like, okay, I'm ready to plug in now. I'm not going to shame you for it. I'm just like, cool, let me show you. Right? Like, we're not somebody's boss. And one of the things I teach in my coaching programs big time is there is no one right way to do anything. There's no one right way to prospect or one right way to build relationships or one right way to post on social media. And there are coaches out there who say that stuff, and it turns people away, because if people aren't good at doing it the way that they do it, then they get discouraged. It's all about figuring out what works best for you. In everything that I do in my business, I've just gotten really disciplined at doing something I call analyzing backwards every single day. I just ask myself a few simple questions. What worked today? What did not work today? And how can I tweak it tomorrow? That's it.
That's powerful,
right?
Though. Yeah.
But and it's the truth, because people say, how on God's green earth did you build to a 7-figure a year income in just 7 years in network marketing? And I did that because I was aware and I wasn't willing to take action and try and look stupid and fall flat on my fucking face and then go, okay, that didn't work. let me tweak something here and try it again the next day, right? Like that's really all it takes. That's how you build the skills.
Yeah. And see, and that's what's so wild is this is a common theme that has been coming up for easily the last month. Every time I'm doing podcast recording and I'm having a conversation with somebody, this concept of awareness around what you're doing and then creating intentional actions to help get you closer to the result that you desire is literally the answer. So like, I'm like you, whenever someone says, it's this strategy, it's going to be the winning thing that's going to help you, make millions. It's never the strategy. It's always you. It's always, what are you doing? Are you aware of it? Were you intentional about it? Yep. And if it didn't fucking work, did you do something different? Like, I mean, that's what it boils down to. It's so wild how I do think that because of like the pandemic and everything got online so quickly that there was this flood of coaching that came out that was like, people were making incredible amounts of money based on one strategy because that's all you really needed because things were just happening so fast. But now, a couple years later, people live online now. It's not just sort of like a one-off, this is a fun thing to do. People have become so much more aware of the trends, of the sneaky little things that happen, the manipulations that some of the people do with their content. And so, that's one of the reasons I do this podcast is to just have full transparency around what it looks like, feels like, is like to build a business. Like it doesn't always, it's not always rainbows and unicorns. It sucks sometimes, but having awareness and knowing that it's okay to constantly be pivoting, like the journey is the success.
Yes. Period. I love that you said that because everybody's looking for the end game.
Yeah. Stop it, people.
I would be so bored if I didn't have anything to do.
Well,
like when I think about that, I'm like, I don't want an end game. I just want to keep getting better. I want to keep getting smarter. I want to keep honing my skills. I want to keep learning new things. I want to keep getting richer. I love money. I want to keep being able to give more money. I want to keep having more freedom. There's just no end to it. Like, I don't get that. There's no end. And so people come into it and they're like, I want to get here. And I'm like, just go enjoy the journey, man. It's fun. Let it be fun. Like there are going to be sucky days. I want to throw my phone out the window and smack people in the face and be like, I don't want to talk to anybody. But for the most part, like it's fun. Like have fun with it. Like if you choose to be an entrepreneur, you are choosing to follow your dreams and your passions instead of like building somebody else's. That's fun.
Yeah. And it definitely takes learning the skill of self-responsibility. Like, I think I was actually at your retreat whenever I had said this, or we were talking about something like this, but we were talking about how like that employee mentality where people show up to build their own businesses, but it's like, they're their worst employee. Like, would they pay themselves the amount of money that they want to make with the effort that they are showing up as? And I'll be honest, when I first started, I was showing up as like the shittiest employee in my own business. And I had to take full responsibility for that and be like, okay, Sarah, instead of sitting on the couch and watching Netflix, why don't you do the thing that you promised yourself you would do? And the more I started taking messy action, that more times than not, it didn't lead me to the result I wanted, but the actions I was taking gave me just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more insight and awareness, and allowed me to make those little tweaks and pivots. And so now I'm in the flow, and it's almost like I don't even have to make decisions on what task I do next, because it is just it's the natural progression of the task in a way. So when people are afraid to take the action and really take self-responsibility, I mean, those are things you have to kind of do, and just like you say, be okay with just sucking for a little while, because you're not going to find the clarity on the other side unless you just do the damn thing.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be 100, like there's never been money made in the beginning without actually doing things. Right?
Yeah. Oh, man.
But I get it. I get it. A lot of people,
Yeah.
you're just
Well, it's
used to
immediate
tell
gratification.
them what to do. Go do this, be here for this long, make this much money, right? And that's what we're most of
Yeah.
us are raised to do. So it takes a mindset shift, but
Yeah.
if you'll take the messy action and just
Mhm.
be like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn from this, you'll get there.
Yeah. Well, and of course, having people like Brynn in your corner is going to help you just up
Sarah.
level. And me, of course, you guys are here. Yes. But I'm going to add everything to the show notes so you guys can get the tracker and all the good things. And before we sign off, is there anything like something coming up next for you? Something we can keep our eyes open for? I mean, entrepreneurship's always got sort of an ever evolving thing going on. But where can we like hang out with you?
Yeah. So a couple things. Number one, download the tracker. It will put you on my email list, which I actually email quite often. I email a
Mhm.
lot of value. But you're also always going to be the first to know anything that I have coming or anything going on. I have a couple of things. Like if you found what I talked about in this episode really valuable and you're looking for somebody to help you create more time and learn how to delegate and outsource and automate and all these things, I have a great one-on-one program. You can send me a message. You can follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram. You can message me in either one. But I actually am going to be in January doing a manifestation magic course. It's going to be really fun because I'm really, really big into manifesting, and your energy and what you think and how you feel is what you bring back to you. And so I'm going to teach you guys legit how I have manifested like all of my dreams, I have to continue to make new goals and new dreams because I
You're like,
keep
whoa, I got this one.
like, I even got a new toy yesterday that I haven't even posted on social media yet.
Ooh.
Excited to share, but yeah. So get on my email list. You'll be the first to know about that. That will be coming in January. It'll be super fun.
So good. So good. All right, you guys, head over to the show notes. And Brynn, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
I love you. Mwah! Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.